Okay, everyone. Welcome back. I figured it would be best to explain the rules of the Naruto game, Naruto to Boruto game before I do any more like card reviews, because judging from the Facebook group and from what I've seen from everyone else, it does look like a lot of people are confused on this game. Is it a deck builder? Is it a TCG? The short answer is no, it is not a deck builder, and no, it is not a TCG. It's a living card game. So, what a living card game is basically when you buy a set, it comes with a copy of every card from that set, a play set of every card in that set. So, you're gonna get a play set of every single card from the Naruto to Shippuden one and the Naruto to Boruto one. And in an interview with one of the creators, they did say that each set has exclusive cards, so there is incentive to buy both sets. But anyways, we'll get on how to play the game now. So basically, there's two ways to win. They're advertising this as there's two ways to win in this game. You have 5 guardians, and you can also do quests. So as soon as someone loses all their guardians and they are attacked one more time, they lose. If obviously if you have no cards in your left in your deck and you can't draw, you lose as well. That's the same with every card game. Or if a player completes 5 or more quests, they win. So we'll just go through basically, we'll start with the phases. So to set up the game, you shuffle your deck. Before you draw, it looks like you place your 5 guardians down in the guardian zone. Now, this is what the playmat looks like. So as you see here, you have your deck, your discard, your extra deck, and your quest points. And this is the battlefield. If any of you played the Naruto CCG, this is kind of like the village, but the guardian stack. So I imagine you before you draw your hand, you put your 5 guardians down, and it's completely random from the top of your deck. But you put your 5 guardians down, then you draw 5 cards from your deck, and that is your starting hand. You then roll for who goes first, and then you have, obviously, the Chronoclass system. Starts at the first turn. This is what's important. The first turn, it starts at 0. This is what's known as your time, and this is how you play cards. So say I'm going first, and you start at 0. If I have a card that costs 2, I move this 1, 2 to my opponent's side. Now, as soon as this barrier crosses 1, it's the other player's turn. So if I play my 2-cost cards, I go 1, 2, I resolve the effects on my card, and it becomes my opponent's turn. And now they have 2 or 1, 2, 3 time, technically, to work with. This is important because if it's first turn and you play a 9-cost card, you're giving your opponent 9 time, essentially, to work with for their turn. When you only got to play 1 card, they might get to play 2 or 3. So it's just important to keep track of your time, obviously, and the play sheet has it right here at the top. If you ever get one of these, print one out. I believe these sets will come with one. Don't know if it's going to be paper or not, like they do in structure decks for Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic or whatever. But it's always just good to know and good to have something like this. The next thing is your turn. So you'll untap all your cards. Obviously, if you're going first, you don't need to worry about untapping your cards. So the way tapping and untapping works in this game is, I believe, it's questing and attacking. So when you attack, you'll tap your cards, and that'll show that you're attacking with a battler or a monster. And I believe for questing, you will tap your ninja and put a card from your hand underneath it. And that signifies that it is being quested. You draw one card from your deck at the start of your turn. If you cannot draw, you lose. Obviously, that's the same with every card game. Now, what's different about this game is it does not have different phases. You have one main phase. And during this, you can do any of these things in any order as many times as you want. And that's important because that's both simple and kind of tricky. So you can summon as many times as you want as long as you have the cost. You can play an action card as many times as you want as long as you have the cost. And you can attack with your battlers as many times as you want as long as you have the cost. An important thing to note is battlers do have summoning sickness. Unless they have an effect that states that they can attack when they are summoned, you cannot attack that turn with the ninja you just summoned. You can also send ninjas on quests as many times as you want. And it also says ninjas that go on quests cannot attack the turn that they go on quest. So pretty simple right there. You can summon. So if I summon, say I have 5. If I'm at 5, I summon a 3, 1, 2, 3. I go down to 2. I summon that guy. I can attempt to attack with him. That doesn't cost anything. I can play an action card. Let's say it cost 3. 1, 2, 3. It now becomes, I resolve the effect. That's important. You resolve the effect of your cards first, and it then becomes my opponent's turn. So it's important to do this because you don't want to end up playing a card and forgetting to attack, and all of a sudden it's your opponent's turn because the cost puts you over 1. So that's really important. We'll go back up here. Ending your turn. So, like I said, your turn ends as soon as it goes to your opponent's side of 1 Orc Raider. That's how it always works. If you choose to pass, it says here, if you don't have any cards in your hands or you just don't want to play anything, it automatically goes to 3 on the opposing player's side. So if I'm at 8 over here and I just don't play anything, it goes all the way to 3 no matter what. So on your opponent's side. So if you sort of want to play things, just so you might get your opponent just 1 cost to work with, but it just all depends. So they have this game has mechanics that are icons. So it's not like other games where it has text that explains to you how the cards work. They have icons. The most important icons, I think, are these ones right down here. These triggers and the modifiers. The one with the 2 arrows, so the one pointing to the side and then the one pointing up, means summon. That means you resolve the effects of this card when it is played or summoned. So this will only happen, its effect, when it is put in play. This one with the fist, that means attacking. You only resolve these effects when it is attacking. When that card is attacking is when you will get these effects. And the one with, it looks like, I guess, an explosion, sort of. This only happens when that card is destroyed. So you do not get the effects unless it states otherwise when the card is destroyed. Now, these modifiers are also pretty common, too. A circle with a blue, colored in, it means it modifies time. So it'll make your time go up or down. The red circle is strength. So the power of your card will go up or down. And then the yellow means that a target card or your card's cost is modified up or down. So you got to remember yellow cost, red power, blue time. Now, there's also things like these. These are more self-explanatory. The way I like to look at it is for targets. Red means, it usually means opponent. And so red usually means opponent, and blue it looks like always yours. Like right here, the blue B. Target one of your battlers. And it can't target a battler with this icon cannot target itself. So target one of your other ones. Target one of your other battlers. So this is each. So it looks like instead of a B, it's like with a hand of Bs. You target each of your battlers except the one using the effect. And then A, your action card. These target an action card in your hand or discard pile. So A, action card, B, battler. Pretty simple stuff. This one at first I thought was your deck when they were first announcing this game, is your discard pile. And the way I like to notice this is the like bomb thing there usually means when something's destroyed. So this is your discard pile where all your destroyed things go. Anything that has this interacts with your discard pile. Obviously there's these which have greater than or less than or equals to or all that stuff. So this means a card's cost. So if it's yellow, it interacts with the card's cost, or it has something to do with the card's cost. If it's red, it's something to do with a card's strength. And this is really important because some cards might have really high strength or really low strength, but a vice versa cost. So you have to make sure your card is targeting the right thing. You don't want to play a card that targets something with a high strength, but you can't use it because it's not high enough cost. It sounds a little bit confusing, but once we have actual cards that I can show you, like more in circulation, it'll be a lot easier. This game is meant to be really simple. And then obviously you have abilities. Now these things, this is where it gets a little bit more difficult. You have guardian attacks. Now this means you can attack the guardians equal to the number of times it says. So if I have a Rock Lee, let's say, and my Rock Lee says this +2, it gains additional guardians attacks. So I believe that means you get 3 guardian attacks. This one, the fist with like the stops, the like stop sign on it, that cannot attack, but you can still go on quests. That battler cannot attack. This one just means it cannot attack other battlers, and we'll get to more on that later. This means it can only attack guardians or questing things. Protector, this means while this one is in play, they can only target this card with effects. Now this seems kind of crazy because they have things like this in other card games and they're very good. So that means if I have, I saw a Datara card, I believe, that just straight up destroyed a target card on the field. So if I have this card and another really powerful card, if my card has Protector, that Datara can only destroy the card that has Protector. And that just seems pretty good. Recovery is another thing that seems pretty good. When this battler loses a battle while attacking, it's not destroyed. So that means if you attack a Guardian, we'll get more into this later. If you attack a Guardian, they reveal that Guardian. And whichever one has higher power wins. But no matter what, you'll always destroy the Guardian. It just depends if the Guardian destroys your card or not. So recovery seems pretty good because even if their Guardian has higher attack than yours, your battler will not be destroyed. Legion, whenever this battler is destroyed, you may discard the top card of your deck. If it's a battler, you add it to your hand. And if a battler has more than one of these, you do it for each one that you have. So if it has 2 of these, you send the top 2 cards of your deck to the discard pile. This, I'm not sure how it'll work out. It seems sort of risky. It depends on the ratios of battler to action cards in the deck. Withdraw, whenever a battler loses a battle, while it's in the battlefield, you return it to the owner's hand. This, I'm also not sure how it works out because it depends on the cost of the card that's using it. It's good if you want to keep a really good card in play and not have it get destroyed. But with the time and how that works, you're just paying more time for a card and giving your opponent more cost. Last Stand, whenever this battler attacks, it gets the strength bonus in the icon. So and then the battler is destroyed after that battle. So this is sort of like, so if this battler is getting into a battle, it gains that much strength. So if I attack with a card, it gains however many strength is in this icon, and then it's destroyed after the battle. Pretty simple. Reinforcements. Whenever this battler is destroyed while it's in the battlefield, you summon a battler or extra deck battler from your hand with the same cost or less. This seems insane. If this is on a very high cost card, and we don't know how good the extra deck is, but I imagine they're supposed to be very good. This is on a very high cost card, and it somehow gets destroyed. you can just summon a pretty high cost extra deck card or multiple cards from your hand, it seems. Now, that just seems pretty insane because this game looks like it rewards having a lot of monsters on the field. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. Sentinel. While this battler is tapped, your Guardian stack cannot be attacked. You may tap this battler when you summon it. So a monster with this effect, when you summon it, you can tap it. And from that point on, they cannot attack your Guardian stack. They can only attack your tapped monsters, and I believe they can only attack Sentinel first. So this is very good. It depends, again, what cards have it and how good those cards are. If it's a high-cost card with high attack, it depends. We'll just have to see how it plays out. The leader effect. When this battler attacks, the next battler you summon after it has a cost reduced by the number inside. This is a pretty crazy effect. If a low-cost card gets this effect, I guarantee that card will be very good. If we put a low-cost card with this effect, that card I can almost guarantee will be good. Imagine summoning a 2-cost card to just have your next card reduced by 1 cost. So you can summon a 2-cost card. Your next card you play is reduced by 1 cost. Your next 2-cost card you could essentially summon for 1 cost. So this effect seems kind of insane. Fast, this just gets rid of summoning sickness. The battler you summon that turn can attack the turn you summon it. And then we have the examples of effects here. So this Boruto, for example, has a Guardian ability for when this Guardian ability gives your other battles Sentinel until the end of the turn. That's how this stuff works. You have more effects here that I'll go over later, but for now I want to get to the extra deck, or not the extra deck. How to play actual cards. So summoning battlers, simple enough. To summon a battler, you pay its cost, put the card on the battlefield. If it has a summon trigger, you resolve it when it's summoned. And if the summoning ends your turn, you still get to resolve that effect. So if I'm only at 0, it's my first turn, and I summon something that costs 4, and it has a summon trigger, I still resolve its effect before it becomes my opponent's turn. That's just some simple clarification. Action cards. I don't know if any of you have played Yu-Gi-Oh, but in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's things called spell cards. These look exactly like it. Whenever you play an action card, it's not a battler, but you pay its cost, resolve its ability, and then it goes to the discard pile. Same thing with battlers. If the action card ends your turn, you still resolve the effect before it becomes your opponent's turn. So again, if I'm at 0, I play an action card that costs 4. I use its effect before it becomes my opponent's turn. Action cards are not battlers. They do not have strength, and they do not go to the battlefield. They are discarded as soon as you play them. Attacking. When you attack with a battler, you tap it. This means it cannot attack again unless it has another effect, and it also means that battler can now be a target of an attack from an enemy battler. If it has the punch icon, you resolve its attacking ability now, and you must choose to have it attack enemy battler or your opponent's guardian stack. So you can only attack tapped battlers. If their battler is not tapped, you cannot attack it. You have to attack a guardian stack or a sentinel thing. Attacking the guardian stack. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing, but whenever you attack your opponent's guardian stack, they reveal the top card. They don't get to choose, they reveal the top card of it. If it has a guardian ability, your opponent resolves it right there. If the guardian was a battler, compare its strength to your attacking battler. So if I attack a guardian stack and it's another battler, a battle ensues. If the guardian's strength is at least as high as the attacker's, the attacker is destroyed. If it's lower, the attacker stays in play. If the guardian battler has any icons, ignore them. Those are only if it was in the battlefield. So if it has any icons, you ignore that unless it's a guardian ability. If it does not have a guardian ability, it just acts as a normal battler, and then they're done. If it was an action card and it has no guardian abilities, nothing happens. You won that guardian battle, and the attacker remains in play. As soon as guardians are revealed, it seems like, whatever the outcome of that battle does not matter. The guardian is always destroyed. If I lose to that guardian, it doesn't matter. I still beat that guardian. That makes some really interesting mechanics. +1 guardian attacks. This one seems the most confusing, But once you wrap your head around it, it's very simple. So, as I showed before, there's this icon, which gains extra Guardian attacks. This just means you get extra Guardian attacks on the Guardian stack. It can attack a Guardian twice, up to 3 times even, and they can get more Guardians. If a Guardian effect destroys your attacker, you do not get any more Guardian attacks that it would have had. If a Guardian ability gives your opponent time and it is no longer your turn, then your attack is stopped. So if I attack a Guardian and let's say it's at like 0, I'm right on the edge of my opponent's turn. If I attack a Guardian and it gives them 2 time, that negates my other Guardian attacks and it becomes their turn as soon as that Guardian is destroyed. If your opponent has no Guardians left and your battler still has Guardian attack remaining, you cannot attack again with that card. So, to put it simply, if I get rid of all their Guardians and I still have their effect to attack Guardians, that battler cannot attack them because they do not have any Guardians to attack. It only gives you extra attacks on Guardians. And in order to win, you have to attack them while they have no Guardians. So, if that explains it well, I hope it does. That's the simplest I can do. Hopefully that gets it like the best for you guys. Questing. So, questing is another way to win the game. Questing lets you send your battlers on missions, technically. And if you get 5 quests or more, you win. To send a battler on a quest, you tap it. So you tap it like you're attacking, but you're not attacking anything. You put a card on it face down on top of it. The card you put on top of it is acting like a Guardian. So that card is acting like a Guardian. It says right here. Except it only guards the battler you put on it. If an enemy battler attacks it, you reveal the card you put from your hand and resolve it like it was a Guardian attack. So once the battler has no card on it, it can be attacked as normal. At the beginning of your turn, you discard all your battlers, all the cards on the battlers, and you gain 1 quest point for all cards discarded this way. If you have 5 or more quest points, the game ends and you win. So it's looking like it acts as a way for if they destroy your Guardian, your battler is not destroyed. They have to destroy your battler. If they destroy your Guardian, that just opens it up for your battler to be destroyed. The card you put down will act like a Guardian, so this makes it interesting. So if you have a card in your hand that's like not too good on its own, but it has a really great Guardian effect, put that down as a quest. Because if they attack it, you will get that good Guardian effect, and it wasted one of their attacks on one of your good, like your actual Guardian stack. That's just one way to use it, and I think that's really good. I think that makes some really strategic plays. I've already started thinking of some things, and I'd love to share it with you guys once more cards are revealed if we get some really good Guardians. Now, lastly, this is what I wanted to go on to last because the extra deck isn't like, it's hard to explain, but the extra deck are the oversized cards, so they're like the very big ones, and you don't have to play with one if you don't want to. I wouldn't recommend it because I feel like the extra deck is going to be very big, but you don't have to play with one. It's a completely different deck from your own, and it has to have, I believe, at least 6 cards in it. I believe it said somewhere in there you have to have at least 6 cards in your extra deck. But anyways, the only way to draw cards from your extra deck is by an ability. So you can't draw them anyways without the +1 extra deck icon, which is right here. Paying for extra cards is different as well. They don't cost time, which is good, and why I think these cards will be good. You must destroy battlers with combined cost to be at least equal or higher to that card. So if I have a 6 cost extra deck card, then I have to destroy cards on my field that are at least 6 cost to summon that extra deck battler. So at the end of the day, I think these cards could be really good. They could be really great. It depends. It all depends on, again, how good these icons are. I'll show the play sheet one last time for you guys just so you can get a good look at it. This is how it looks. This is where the Guardians go, the extra deck, the battlefield, discard, deck, quest points. Again, I'll have links to the Facebook down below. You can download these yourself. Stay tuned for more news and more reviews on this game. Very excited. Hope you guys get to play, and I hope I get to see some of you guys. See you later.